Hi everyone, this is John Bridge in District 2, and I wanted to talk for a few minutes about speech evaluations, how to put them together and how to deliver them so that you help your speakers out. So I'm going to touch on a few things. What is the sandwich method or the sandwich evaluation? What's an easy way to quickly assemble a great evaluation? And also, what are some tips on getting it delivered in a good way to where not only your speaker feels like it was really good, but also the audience is listening to you. So first, let's talk a little bit about the sandwich evaluation. You hear about the buns and the meat and all that, but let's look at some examples of what might be a good evaluation and what would be some not so good evaluations. So I'm just going to talk about these for a moment. This sandwich here looks like it has some good positive buns on it, but as you can see, it's got a little too much meat, looks like barbecue pork, and it's spewing all over the place. So this evaluator, whoever they may be, started out really good in the beginning, got started on some constructive criticism or points to improve, and they basically just got so carried away that their bottom bun got destroyed and their whole evaluation fell apart. This sandwich looks pretty good. Got a good top and a bottom bun, some vegetables, and a little bit of meat in the middle. Very nice. This one's a little thick. Got too many things going on in there. Need to remove about 2/3 of this and shrink it down. Now, I'm sure some of you experienced Toastmasters have witnessed or experienced someone giving one of these evaluations over here, and maybe it was even yourself. I think I've done a couple of those a long time ago. The bottom line is, started out with a little bit of bun, your speech is really great, and somehow you got started on this, what is this, 10 or 15 points to improve, basically overhaul your speech and your life or something. It's got so much stuff going on in the middle that I think the bottom bun got squashed. So this person definitely ran over time and the whole thing fell apart. This sandwich looks pretty good. Got a decent piece of meat in there, 2 good buns, and then here's the infamous meatless sandwich. Nothing but positive whitewash on the top and the bottom, and there was no point or no suggestions of any type or form to help the speaker. And I think we see this happening on mostly icebreakers, but icebreakers need to get a little feedback too, and we'll talk about how to do that. So we don't want to just go with, oh, that was a really wonderful speech, Steve. It was so great. I loved your stories, and everything was wonderful, and I can't wait till your next one. That's basically what this sandwich represents there. So let's look at, so I actually drew a picture of a sandwich, but I rotated it 90 degrees because the timeline kind of goes for here. We start with the evaluation, we go through the top bun, we give a couple points of improvement, and then we go through the bottom bun and kind of close it out. But one thing that I want to point out, I want to talk about what I call the energy line, and that's your energy level as an evaluator. In order to demonstrate this, I'm going to move this top bun out a little bit, and I'm going to move the meat over as well. So what this line represents is when you start out with your top bun, your energy is kind of high, it's all wonderful, and after you get done with your top bun and you're getting ready to start talking about the points for improvement, well, a lot of times there's this pause, or there's a but, like, oh, that was really great, but, and there's this pause. Your energy just takes a dive. Oops. See if I get it moved over there. Energy just takes a major dive. Matter of fact, the meat doesn't even look like that. If you do one of these energy dives, your meat has really shrunk, and some people even got double wide meat in there with 3 or 4 points. We don't need that. And I'm going to talk a little more about this dive in a moment. But whenever you pause or say, but the one thing is, or the word but, and your voice drops in tone and energy, that's where this energy dive takes place. The audience and the speaker are just like, oh no, here it comes. Well, you want to learn how to not do that. Let me stick this back up here. Basically, you want to get about 2 points in your meat, and you want the energy of the meat to match the top of the energy of the bun without taking that dive. I'm going to move this bun back over also, and you don't want a big long time gap there. You almost want it touching. Same way with this. So I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit in more detail. This next slide is going to seem a little noisy, but bear with me. So I've divided the top bun up into 3 pieces, and we'll go through those 1, 2, 3. The meat area into 2 pieces representing 2 items or 2 points, and the bottom bun into 2 pieces. And I'll show you how we avoid getting this big old drop in energy down when I demonstrate that in just a moment. So I recommend the first words that come out of your mouth, you walk up there smiling, you look energetic. That was a great speech. Just stick it out there, very first words. And it'll help your speaker feel like, oh, I'm not going to get destroyed here, so there's not going to be a lot of anxiety going on. You're going to eliminate that right away. And then you could do your greeting. Mr. or Ms. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, honored guests, and especially Steve, thank you for delivering that great speech. Again, you're reinforcing that you felt it was a good speech. Your speaker's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable now. Third one, a lot of clubs like to bring up the objectives in that particular speech project. So if you do that, this is a good place to stick it. And Steve delivered a great speech project number 1, the icebreaker from the CC manual. His objectives were, you plug them in, stand and speak before a group, and reflect on your natural speaking skills. Steve, go into the first person if you want. Steve, you clearly met the objectives. Great job on that. I really enjoyed your topic on such and such, such and such. And the way you told the story, oh, it was really, really great. I love the way you did this and that. Steve, I'd like to see you make more eye contact. If you do, you'll make a better connection with your audience and they will feel more engaged. Also, be sure to keep your volume up high enough so that everyone can easily hear what you're saying all the way to the back of the room. Continue using your interesting personal stories. They kept us so captivated, just like you did today. That was wonderful. And overall, you did a fantastic job with your first speech, and I am really looking forward to hearing your next one. Now, of course, your entire evaluation is going to be a little bit longer than that, but you can plug some in here, and the why, and the giving some examples. But did you notice that when I went from this part here, number 3, which represents the last part of the top bun, and I went into the 2 points, that I didn't really hesitate, and my voice tone and my energy didn't drop all of a sudden and get really low? Well, I kept it up, and one way that I do that is I don't lead my recommended items by leading phrases such as, but there's this one thing, or the one thing is, or something I'd like to see you focus on or consider or think about improving. While a couple of those leading phrases are okay, I usually prefer just to not use them at all. I go right into straight, energetic, short, simple statements. Because I don't have those leading phrases, it's not like I'm setting anything up. I go straight into them. I just put them in a simple, nice, energetic statement form, make my point, and move on. Give them a little bit of support, and move on. It works really, really well. So recommend that you give that a shot. Just go straight into it. So how are you going to actually collect this information? Well, I have another slide here. It's almost a duplicate, but I just removed some of the language I put in there before. So you can print this out, you can download it, print it out, and fill it in. Even if you're not the evaluator for a meeting, just fill it in as if you are the evaluator if you want to practice and see how the form works. And of course, you can modify it any way that you like, whatever suits you. I wanted to talk just a moment about how to choose these two items. I've noticed that sometimes someone will be giving an evaluation on an icebreaker, and they'll say something like, they'll be talking about gestures or technical vocal variety, and the person giving the icebreaker hasn't even been to that part of the manual yet. So when I give an evaluation for an icebreaker, I actually just pick 2 of 4 different things typically. And those 4 things that I usually look at for icebreakers are eye contact, volume, meaning do they have enough volume to get to the back of the room, could everyone hear them, if they were relaxed, and maybe pauses. So if you heard me give evaluations for 10 icebreakers in a row, I would only pick 2 of these 4 items for every one of those evaluations for icebreakers. It just works. It's at their level, they get it, it makes sense, and they'll remember it, and they'll actually be able to incorporate it into their second speech. Now, if the newer Toastmaster member is working on speeches 2 through 3, speech projects 2 through 3, well, you can still use the same things: eye contact, volume, how relaxed they were, pausing. You can add in a couple more, personal stories. Something that's very, very simple and low level and easy for them to understand. And again, you limit it to 2 items. You just pick 2. And once a Toastmaster gets up around speeches number 4 through 10, well, you can still pull from these items, but you can also include in your list of choices the objectives that they've covered in past speeches. So if they're working on speech number 9, well, they've already done your body speaks and vocal variety, so you can add those objectives to your list of choices of when you pick 2 to give them recommendations as their meat in their sandwich. So that's how I do it. And it works very, very nicely. It's simple, and it actually helps them quite a bit. What else do we have to talk about here? Okay, last slide. I just wanted to point out some things to remember. If you get good, really, really good and effective at delivering evaluations, I just want you to know that you're going to have an incredible tool in your toolbox. You will be able to lift, elevate, and move people. I mean, almost physically get them to levitate, and mentally for sure. You'll be able to influence and persuade people, and you will be serving and helping members of Toastmasters, the world, basically, and you'll be making the world a better place. I think it's something very important to understand. And this framework that I just introduced you to, it's simple. It's not bulletproof. Take it, improve it, and if you think it works for you, great. Use it as a starting point and go from there. So right now you're on this YouTube site, and if you'd like to download a copy of this presentation in PowerPoint so you can edit it, do whatever you want with it, please go ahead. You'll find it in the public download section of this website here, professionallyspeaking.toastmasterclubs.org. And that's the end of my presentation. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit, and keep on toasting.